Bible.com. And it reads, Russia's parliament passes sweeping wartime economic control.
Now we gonna bring that in again. Get a brother get Joel 3 and 9. We'll start at
Mr. Do it up, I'm sorry, two poles and two hoes, he let her do it up. I'm thinking about designer with my board when I pull it up. These weird ass niggas doing drills trying to compete with us. You niggas better stay up for y'all lane. Y'all get double dirty, hit him in the head, he gets a shot, you know what's up. Slide in the squeak, two skis and watch me fuck it up. Slide in the squeak, two skis and watch me fuck it up. If you county jail, let it go chill, we gon' squabble up. We do it up, and they gon' do it at night, we can chill it up.
bring that Joel out real quick.
Joel 3, hear this word that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has spoken. This is wrong, that's English.
It's all good. Hey, but listen,
hear this word.
hear this word.
Hear this word. You gonna get this work.
You gonna get it, you know?
This is Joel 3. For behold, in those days, and in that time,
In these days, in this time, go ahead,
when thou shalt bring again the captivity of Judah
Hey,
and
to-
Jerusalem,
to bring again means to take out of captivity, out of slavery. So we're at the time where Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are about to be taken out of your captivity and from the lands you've been made captive. And you're going to be placed in your own land, but it's going to begin with the elect. The elect are the only ones that want to get out of here.
That's right.
The rest of you niggas, you 2/3, you're going to die in this land. 2/3 are going to be cut off and die.
they like the leaks and the melons.
Oh, yeah, they love Egypt.
The rap music.
But they gonna die without fucking anything in their stomach.
Yep.
They gonna die being a fool. They gonna die the death of the uncircumcised.
Verse 2, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat.
Now the Valley of Jehoshaphat is in what they call the Fertile Crescent, that Saudi Arabian Peninsula, right there. The Lord said He's gonna bring the nations down into that region. Now certain of those nations is in that region, based on goods in the land, based on them dealing with the Saudis, dealing with the oil. Then they have to deal through the greenback. But now the BRICS nations are dealing with their own currency. And guess who the Saudis is about to do a deal with? If it goes according to their plan, they're gonna be trading in the yuan. So there you go. That's what's gonna lead the other nations in there for their interests. Like, hold up, we gotta get in there because they about to fuck up our shit over there. Hence, the Lord is bringing the nations down into that valley for a great war.
Right.
First, it's going to be trade wars. It's going to be interest in the land, and it's going to be a build-up of military.
That's happening now.
And it's happening now, and it's been happening for years, but you see it more clearly
Speak
now.
up.
Go ahead.
And for my heritage Israel,
Hey, the Lord going to do it for His land. He going to do it for His land because them fucking rats is over there. He's like, all right, that's cool. I'm going to let y'all get froggy and get this thing started. Go ahead,
whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
So you have scattered the true inhabitants of the land, the true owners of the land. We're in the four corners of the earth. We were lost for a time, but now we know the name of our power, and now our power is moving fast and quick.
That's right.
To get you nations gathered together, not to be saved, but to be destroyed. Go ahead,
Oh, yeah. You want to jump to 9?
Verse 3, and they cast lot for my people.
Now this happened in slavery. The Lord ain't forgot what you did. The Lord ain't forgot who was on Wall Street. It was our people.
The first commodity sold on Wall Street.
There it is. And then you had 2 weeks ago, worst day on Wall Street to date. And it's even getting worse. Well,
And have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that
Lord
they
ain't-
may drink.
the Lord ain't forgot that. And now your land is as Sodom and Gomorrah. And the Lord is going to overthrow it as He overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities. Just for doing that, turning our boys into fucking sodomites. But now the land is filled with that spirit. Go ahead,
Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon?
That's Hamites and Ishmaelites, ugly as Arabs. But then those lands over there, that's where our land is at. What do you have to do with the Lord when you in His land and you don't even keep His ways? And what you did to His people, you think the Lord forgot about that? That's why world war is coming. So the Lord can repay you nations back for what you did to us.
And all the coast of Palestine, will ye render me a recompense.
So you gonna pay the Lord back? You gonna give Him something that's more valuable than His people? Oh no, the Lord gonna give you a thing or two. He requires blood. Expiation. The God of Israel is a vengeful and vindictive God. He requires blood. Cruel Lord.
Hey, she was prophesying.
Hey, and it went to the point in that movie where they started putting people to death. Before the mist could get to them, they started putting people to death. That was a determination that these people got to go, man.
Yeah.
And that's what it is here.
Man,
These people got to fucking go.
That's right.
They're gonna go out. They're gonna go.
right.
Go ahead.
And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head.
Oh, the Lord is so swiftly and speedily return your recompense upon your own head. The Lord is sending plagues in your lands. The Lord is taking us out of the curses and putting you heathens into the curse. The Lord is fucking you up. The Lord is starting to touch you now. And soon you're going to go into captivity. Soon, you nations going to drink of that cup. Jump down to 9.
Verse 9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Woo! Prepare war and wake up the mighty men.
Mm-hmm.
Let all the men of war draw near. Woo! Let them come up. Beat your plowshares and the swords.
Bam.
And your pruning hooks and the spears.
Bam, that's leave it right there. It said beat your plowshares into swords. A thing that's used for agriculture and farming, they're making those same tools into tools of war, weapons of war. Now you put it in modern times, the money that would have went to agriculture, making your nation great, is going into military might. That's exactly what the Russians are doing. They were once the producer of the third of the world's grain in Ukraine. But since that war broke out, the Ukrainians nor the Russians had time to produce any wheat. They've been producing what? Weapons of war. Go ahead, I'll bring that article out.
So back to the article again. The title is Russia's Parliament passes sweeping wartime economic controls.
Wartime economic control. So they ain't putting no more of their money into the agriculture or helping out the people. It's Putin said, we don't mind giving, these nations wheat and grain, all that, but they got to deal with us in the roof. And if you don't, you're on your own, you're through.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
One of the
Al.
ways, real quick, they're feeding their plowshares and despairs is enriching the uranium.
Woo!
Because that is all. The only point of that is to increase the destruction capacity of the missiles, so that they can make more of a slaughter, like it says in the scripture, furbished, the sword that's being furbished.
Yeah, that's
You know?
the spirit, bro, because the places of Ukraine that they actually wanted to take and occupy, they got it. They have it. So they already took Ukraine. Is over, it's done. They really don't even have to take the capital. Everything they got is what they wanted the whole time.
Strategic places, yeah.
But you know why they got to keep moving towards the border? It's because they got the troops on the border of Poland. That's right there on Ukraine, Belarus. So they're like, oh, okay, y'all making moves militarily. We got to come meet you. Where you at? That's the checkmate.
That Russia did, because it's either you starve out your own people resources or you play ball with Russia. It's either you jump ship
Play
or
ball.
you get down and lay down.
Right.
Man. You know?
Hey, like on that movie, what is it, Road to El Dorado and shit?
Yeah.
He's like, they say, play ball, and he's like, well, how's it work? He's like, aren't you supposed to put the ball into play? That's what the Russians did. They do it out there like, oh, you got it.
You got it.
That.
Continuing with the article, it says Russia's parliament on Wednesday rushed through 2 bills imposing strict controls on the economy, requiring businesses to supply goods to the armed forces and obliging employees at some firms to work overtime.
Man, that's it. So these businesses are now in a wartime. Everything that they're producing is for the benefit of the military.
Yeah.
It's for the benefit of their nation. That's where we at. That's why it says beat your plowshares into swords. It started with the leader of these assembly of great nations to come up against Babylon, as it tells you in Jeremiah. The Lord is stirring up the spirit of the king of the Medes. They're the first ones to beat their plowshares into swords, and all the other nations that they have under them are doing the same thing. Hence BRICS, the BRICS nations. They're using their finances for what? War. Go ahead, Al.
In addition, businesses will be required by law to supply goods and services necessary for conducting the special military operation to the armed forces.
Woo, that's it.
And that's pretty much the point.
Man,
of
that's
this
it.
article.
Because now they got Finland and Sweden talking about joining NATO. Ain't that on the borders of Russia? So Russia has to keep eating. They got to keep encroaching and shit. They're out of hibernation. They hungry and thirsty.
Hey, and the brother Donald just brought up a good point. Businesses, that's all businesses. So whether it be a restaurant, hey, the soldiers are hungry. Woo! Whatever it is.
The spirit, I say that because I was just thinking of the spirit. My job supplies the military by food and water, knowing that they're in the bed with the beast. They're in bed with they know exactly what's going on, man. My job, right, is not of Americans. They're Germans.
Yep.
Right? They're from Germany, so they already know what's going on. They're supplying the military water and food, and while everyone is starving to death.
Yep. And the IRS sent all that money, like that 54 billion was taxpayer money. So that's all they say they broke since then, man. So they sent all your hard-earned taxpaying money to Ukraine, and now they ain't got nothing left.
Y'all is gonna die over there in the Ukraine. All the goddamn military weaponry is a lost cause because the Russians is fucking blowing that shit out of there. Their weapons are far more advanced.
Yep, and you pay the price for it.
Yeah,
know?
you gotta remember, like the brother said, that taxpayer money that could have been used to fix the infrastructure and the things here in America on our own soil. But they sending it out to a country that's not even allied onto their nation. It don't make sense, man. It don't make sense. Then meanwhile, you got shitty Biden going on the news telling you to prepare for the second pandemic. You know, like so they already know this stuff is in the works, right?
They
Nobody is questioning. Like talk second pandemic. How do you know there's gonna be a second pandemic?
They already
You know?
put billions of dollars into that, whatever fucking relief and shit they do in the wake of a pandemic. There's a whole fund that they had, fucking like hundreds of billions of dollars already. It's already reserved for that fucking the new one.
Yeah, and then you know TikTok is the new information highway. You got people in the I don't know what it's called, the board business or whatever, talk about how the government has ordered to mask children-sized caskets.
Right.
Like what the fuck are they preparing for, man? You know, it's
Why
mass
children's
death,
size?
man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, you make sure why children's size, you know?
They're coming for the kids.
You want Jeremiah?
Yeah, Bob Shaw. Yeah, they coming for the
We're
children.
going to read
Yeah.
Jeremiah 50:9 again. Jeremiah 50:9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the northern country.
Now, who's the head? Who's the spearhead, the chief of this conglomerate of nations to come up against Babylon? Russia. The North country. Because Russia is in the northeast. America's in the northwest. Who's going to win? The Lord is empowering the nations of the east. You have the Euphrates drying up. It's been drying up for years. But guess what the Russians did? They built a bridge across it. But now, the river is so dried up that troopers can just walk across.
They could just walk across.
It said preparing for the kings of the east. That's what it said. Who's the kings in the east? Russia, China, these other conglomerate of nations, as the scriptures stated.
And the scripture is playing out exactly how it's written.
Good, huh?
And they shall set themselves in array against her.
And when you say yourself in array, it's like, there, man. It's like Achilles when he's called Hector out, like, I got my shit on. Like, let's go. Fuck. You know, like, the negotiations is fucking over. Like, we right. They say array yourself for battle.
It's like the battle formation as well.
They right there out there. Like, okay, all right. Well, y'all made y'all moves on the border of Poland. Shit, who's to say that Poland ain't gonna join our side? We just gonna fuck y'all up. And then y'all, thank you all for bringing weapons over. Now we just gonna take the weapons. We're gonna supply it to ours, you know? Because they pretty much wasted that damn money going over there. The Ukrainians can't fucking really use it. They getting their ass tactically fucked up, you know?
From thence she shall be taken, their arrows.
Whoa,
shall-
how is she gonna be taken? First and foremost, economically. Second, morally. Then they gonna invade this land. And then last but not least, that last army that shall never be seen again, the missiles gonna take this place out.
Their arrows
There it is.
shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain.
Man, that was the missiles. They ain't gonna return in vain. Once they're shot, it's over. Go ahead, huh?
And Chaldea shall be a spoil.
Woo.
All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
Who's spoiling her? Those that were once in league with her going into Obadiah. Those that ate bread and laid a wound under your ass. Right? So they gonna be the ones to destroy you in the end. And the Lord has planned it. Keep reading, huh?
Come.
No more.
Verse 11. Because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine heritage.
Hey, Ak, and that's crazy because Esau is like, well, why you want my society to be destroyed? Just like what happened to Israel. You didn't help us fight against the Babylonians. You fucking pointed us out and was joining the side of the Babylonians and shit. So the Lord's like, all right, well, my people ain't gonna help your ass out either. They gonna we for what the nation's about to do according to the Lord's plan. That's right. We pretty much doing the same thing. Like we ain't on their side either, but we side on what the Lord is gonna do.
Yeah.
Go ahead, huh?
Yeah.
Because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass.
See, America has become great, but to a point where you believe that there is no God, to a point where you're destroying children, that we don't need that Bible. They took the Bible out of the schools out. There is no God to them. They can do all bad by themselves. The Lord has seen this the whole time. It was like, yeah, you grown fat like a heifer at grass. But what happens to the same heifer? You put on for the slaughter. Prepare for the slaughter. And then the Lord has a great sacrifice. He goes you. Go ahead, huh?
And below as bulls,
Man,
your mother shall be sore confounded.
that's Great Britain. And what happened to them this week? Bojo's whole damn cabinet was through. Get out of there. Like,
The whole cab
stepped out like,
Hair was all fucked up.
His hair is always fucked up.
shit, they was so confounded because these European nations are starting to decide like, damn, we thought America had it made. We thought they was in the bag. They see that Biden's mind is not there. Where's Kamala? These European nations need the Russians. They're like, okay, we put sanctions on them, but that's hurting us more than it's hurting them. And then they looking at America like, what have we done? What are you doing? So they're so confounded at America. Well,
She that bear you shall be ashamed.
man,
Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Woo! Because of the wrath of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, it shall not be inhabited.
hey,
But
this land is not going to be inhabited. And the nations are as a wilderness to America because they're not dealing with them like that. But they're actually going to become a wilderness because the missiles are going to be shot to these other lands too. But the difference is that these other lands are going to be replenished, but America is going to be a memorial, a monument of what not to do. Go ahead, huh?
But it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at her plagues.
Hey, are they not astonished at all the plagues that's hitting America? Like, goddamn, like what they do? They thought Trump was bad, and then they got the bumbling fool. Then they got plague after plague.
Hey, these
COVID.
people in other countries, they probably know more about what's going on here than we do, because these things aren't reported in these American-based medias. But I'm sure people in other countries, they probably know more about what's actually happening than we do.
To a biblical standpoint, they'll say this is of biblical proportions. But how do they know? They gotta be listening. They gotta watch it. Go ahead, huh?
Put yourselves in array against her, Salakia. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about.
Now, who's Babylon? Now, that is a key word, and that is a clue to America. Because they ain't going to say America. It's going to say Babylon. Because it's a place of confusion. But it's Babylon the Great. A great confusion. Because of this place. Yeah.
All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her.
All ye that bend the bow, all that have nuclear capability, shoot.
Spare no arrows.
Man.
For she hath sinned against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
Woo! So spare no arrows. Shoot them all. 200 million.
Man, think of that, man, because Russia came out and said that their Satan missile, just one missile, I believe it's 12 warheads, can take out the state of Texas. You know what I'm saying? So this scripture saying basically empty your arsenal of America, man.
Yeah.
Like overkill. Yeah. That's crazy, bro.
Maybe that's a 49.
That's bad.
This place needs it, though.
They're saying that the half-life of uranium is 24,000 years. So basically, when those missiles get exploded, fucking, it'll make this place uninhabitable forever.
Yeah. Hey, that's prophecy.
Yeah.
But it's only gonna be one land that all the nations gonna see smoking for a long time, and then when the smoke clears, it's gonna be desert.
Yeah.